William Buick is in great form at the moment, and some interesting thoughts about his rides at Royal Ascot. Now let's move on to the feature event at Newbury. Mile and a quarter, a listed event for 3-year-olds, 8 run here. And Talib is the odds-on favourite. Ahead of the rest of these fillies, 2-1 on. Ebbs Born for Sir Michael Stout, 13-2. Indian Blessing, 7s. Elas Ruby is 12s. 14s, Fleur Forsyth. Pleasant Surprise, 16s, along with Smart Together. Patty, 33s, 8 runners, then odds on favourite Talib. Let's have a look at them in the parade ring.
Our feature race here at Newbury is the Lord Weinstock Memorial EBF Stallions Stakes. It's registered as the Ballymacole Stud Stakes, and that is number 8, Talib. Last time we saw her, she was running an excellent 4th in the Kipco 1,000 guineas.
She walks really nicely. She's got a standard of form that's a grade above most of the rest of these, and she's dropping significantly in class when most of them are going up in grade. It looks a really good opportunity for her to take her season a step forward before she goes back up in class.
And she's also going up 2 furlongs in trip, and that should well suit her. If we pan back to the left-hand side, we can pick up number 5, and that is Patty, who's shown improved form on her last 2 starts. But mind you, they were off in a handicap off a mark of 72 in a red car maiden.
Yeah, and she just looks out of her depth here, and physically she looks out of her depth, really. She's pretty insignificant looking against some of these.
I think that she might do better over further ultimately. Behind her is number 6, and that's Pleasant Surprise, who didn't need to improve on her 2-year-old form to win at Wolverhampton over 1.5 miles last time.
No, she shaped well on her debut, and then she won a Wolverhampton maiden. She's got a fair bit of potential. She's dropping back a little bit in trip here, but I don't think it'll be a problem. But that form is a bit mixed. She's a potential pacemaker.
She's followed by number 4, and that is Indian Blessing, who's improving, and her best performance came last time when 3rd in a listed event at Goodwood.
Thought good enough to be entered for the Ribblesdale at Royal Ascot. She's continuing to race at 1.25 miles though. I think in terms of form, she'd probably be quite close in behind the favourite.
2 horses behind her is number 1, and that is Ebbs Born, whose career best performance came when winning a York handicap a mark of 80.
Yeah, won a maiden on her debut and then's had 2 goes in handicaps. It seemed to make a difference having the hood on for a turf debut at York, so she's got potential to progress again.
Over on the far side is number 3. Her number cloth has just flicked back. I think that's number 3, isn't it? I thought it was. I'm not so sure now, actually, now that the number cloth has gone away. But we'll wait for them to come round, and I can be absolutely sure of which horses we're talking about. On the far side there is number 5, who we've already seen before, and number 6 we've seen before. Number 4 in our foreground, of course, we've seen before. So the horse that is coming in front of us is Fleur Forsyth. Let's talk about number 3, Fleur Forsyth, who was much improved on her seasonal debut, winning a Salisbury maiden over this trip. She's unexposed at this distance, and she's from a good family.
She is. There's quite a bit to like about her on paper, but this is a significant step up in grade for her. She did travel quite well through the Salisbury race, and she found plenty at the end of it. So I think in time she'll probably stay a bit further than 1.25 miles.
OK, so that is Fleur Forsyth. Now, if we pan around to the left-hand side, 2 horses behind is number 7, and that is Smart Together, who was much improved on her seasonal debut to win at Haydock. She's going up by 2 furlongs in trip, and that is surely going to suit her.
Yeah, you would think so. That Haydock form has taken a few knocks subsequently. Both her runs have been on quick ground, so ground conditions won't be a problem for her.
That is number 7, Smart Together, who has an official rating of 82. Just for example, Talib is rated 109, but she, of course, has had more of an opportunity to prove herself in a higher grade. Behind her is number 2, and that is Ella's Ruby, and her form links in with Indian Blessing. They're both finished behind Maury. Indian Blessing was 3rd, and Ella's Ruby 4th in that Goodwood listed event.
Yeah, and there probably shouldn't be much between them, only £1 between them on that form. I think that was a lesser listed race than this, certainly in terms of Talib and the level of ability that she's shown.
So those are all 8 of them in the paddock for the Lord Weinstock Memorial.
They're going to post for the feature. This is a Ballymacole Stud Stakes. Talib 8-15, 13-2 Ebbs Born. Indian Blessing is 8-1, 10-1 Ella's Ruby. That's from 12s. 12-1 Pleasant Surprise. Fleur Forsyth 16s, along with Smart Together, and Patty 33s.
So Tlaib taking 2 furlongs up in trip here, stepping up by that distance. She won her sole start as a 2-year-old, and then she really stepped into the big time, went 4th in the 1,000 guineas behind Winter. She's only beaten 3.5 lengths, and she's merits marking up on that as well, because she didn't have the clearest of passages through, and also the race develops away.
Quite an interesting race, really. Indian Blessing, the last one. So Indian Blessing for the Lord Weinstock Memorial European Breeders' Fund Stallion Stakes, registered the Ballymacall Stud Stakes, 1.25 miles. And the 8 fillies leave the stalls. Tlaib wasn't the fastest into stride, amongst those showing a little bit of dash. Patty on the inside, and also Fleur Forsyth is racing very keenly in the pale colours. Out a little wider, we have Ella's Ruby, who's moving into a forward position, and Pleasant Surprise as well. So as they settle down, it's Pleasant Surprise who leads from Indian Blessing. Fleur Forsyth continues to be very keen with Ella's Ruby. In 5th place, Smarts Together. That little cluster a little wider of Ebersbourne. Tlaib, having not jumped that alertly, is at the back early on with Patty, as Pleasant Surprise leads them out of the back straight. So Pleasant Surprise inside the final 7 furlongs, lead Indian Blessing by a length. Fleur Forsyth is in 3rd, and Ella's Ruby in 4th, and that quartet have a little bit of an advantage over the others as they race down the side of the course. Smart Together is in 5th place, Ebersbourne 6th, Tlaib in 7th. At this stage would be a good 8 to 10 lengths off the lead, and Patty is at the tail. So once they turn into the straight, they'll feel the effects of this headwind. Has still got 5 furlongs to travel, and out in front it is Pleasant Surprise for Jamie Spencer, who leads in 2nd. Indian Blessing ridden closer this afternoon. Fleur Forsyth in 3rd, then Ella's Ruby, 3 or 4 lengths to Smart Together. Still no move from Tlaib, who's sitting 6th alongside Ebersbourne, and Patty is last of the 8. Making their way inside the final half mile. Out in front, Pleasant Surprise. Poised to have first crack is Indian Blessing in the striped colours towards the outside. Fleur Forsyth is now being ridden along. 4th place for Ella's Ruby, then Smart Together, who's being pushed along as in the blue colours. Tlaib tries to make some progress now at the centre of the racecourse, but Indian Blessing has kicked to join Pleasant Surprise. Couple of lengths to Ella's Ruby. Just inside the final 2, Tlaib still being held together, but now all of a sudden the complexion of the race may be about to change. Ella's Ruby coming at Indian Blessing. Tlaib still with a little bit of work to do, tries to pick up. Then down the outside, Patty at a huge price. Ella's Ruby has taken over, could be decisively so as well. Ella's Ruby seeing this out strongly from in 2nd, Indian Blessing through the middle. Ebersbourne comes to try and press for a place, but a decisive win for Ella's Ruby. Ebersbourne possibly up for 2nd. Smart Together maybe in 3rd, with Indian Blessing possibly getting run out of the places, but the judge will be needed to confirm.
Number 2, Ella's Ruby.
Fascinating little race. Ella's Ruby wins at 9 to 1 for John Gosden and James Doyle, following up on her 4th rather, in the height of fashion last time. 2nd was Ebersbourne for Ryan Moore and Sir Michael Stout, making a smooth progress into listed company from that handicap class that she ran in last time. Result for 3rd, Ebersbourne confirmed, and Smart Together was 3rd, and 4th was number 4 Indian Blessing. So Smart Together was 3rd for William Buick and John Gosden, and 1st and 3rd for John Gosden. These are the closing stages in which Ella's Ruby has taken control of the race, and interesting that the first 3 home were all among the last 4 in the early stages, where they were Smart Together for 2nd, and you can see Ryan Moore there on Ebersbourne on the head-on. He's in the blue cap. Whereas Smart Together is just being ridden along towards the left-hand side. Meanwhile, Tlaib, the beaten favourite, is widest at this stage, although Patty's about to challenge wider than her.
It is very much a stayers race, the way it's developed, because they've gone a good pace, because of the wind in the straight. The winner's been quite hard at work from quite a long way out. The 2nd only really gets going late on, having been slightly checked in her run. The 3rd horse, I think, will prove a horse that will stay pretty well in time too.
I think Patty as well could be even like a sort of mile 6
yeah,
horse.
I mean, she's, although she's only beaten a couple, she has run well.
She has, and Indian Blessing has probably run a bit better than it seems, because she's been into the brunt of the wind for some time. She even turns her head away from it seemingly at one point.
Yes, she was slightly more involved in the race than the winner, and she's attacked earlier, and as a result has just paid for things late on.
But the winner has done well. I mean, she's on an improving trajectory anyway. We're not suggesting that she's won this race through circumstance, because it was a very good 4th in the height of fashion last time. She did shape as though she would be a strong stayer, and you would needed to have stayed in these conditions. Yeah,
and I think when she steps up to 1.5 miles, there'll be more to come from her. I mean, she could perhaps even develop into a Park Hill filly.
Could do. So that's Ella's Ruby, who wins the James Dawn and initiates a first and third for John Gosden in this Lord Weinstock Memorial.
Yeah, and John has now won 3 of the last 8 renewals of this race. Well done to him. It's a double for him on the card after Standing Rock's success as well. Ella's Ruby 9-1. Ebbsbourne 6-1. Smart Together 16-1 in third, 8 ran.